Hi, Dana Sparks, broker of Maximum One Greater Atlanta Realtors, and this week's contract tip has to deal with writing special stipulations. My best advice to you as a broker is don't do it. Don't write your own special stipulations. They rarely tend to have the effect that you as the agent mean for those special stipulations to have for the parties involved in the contract. For example, there was a contract that came across that had a special stipulation that said, all parties agree that due diligence of 10 days stated in item 9A has been amended to a 10-day right to inspect only. That's all it said. And that was the only special stipulation. And the due diligence had been filled in, as the special stipulation said, for 10 days. So what the agent who wrote that special stipulation intended was for the contract to not be subject to a due diligence period at all, for a buyer to not have the binding contract contingent upon a due diligence period. The seller basically wanted the buyer to be bound to that contract with only it was a cash deal, so no financing and no appraisal contingency. So the seller's intent was no contingencies whatsoever. However, what the effect was of, obviously, well, not obviously, but the buyer did terminate under due diligence. So what happens? Was that right still afforded in the contract or not? Well, completely up to interpretation, but the problem is the way that special stipulation was written, it did not totally negate all of the parts of the due diligence period, specifically the right to terminate and protect earnest money and rights to the contract. And the fact that they referenced a right to inspect period, that is already defined, clearly defined in the contract in paragraph 9A. So that was already there. And the parties did not specifically address the other terms that go with due diligence, as I said, namely the right to terminate and protect any earnest money. So what the special stipulation should have been, actually there shouldn't have been any special stipulation at all, merely the parties should have filled in 0 days, that the contract was subject to 0 days due diligence. That way nothing was negated, nothing was left open to interpretation. So just a quick tip, be very careful. Do not write your own special stipulations. There are several already written for you in both the GAR form and the RE forms. If you look in that library of special stipulations, there are several written for you, or please get with an attorney to write the special stipulation to make sure that it does communicate what it is you are trying to communicate and have the desired consequences that you wish. Thank you so much for watching. Again, Dana Sparks, broker of Maximum One Greater Atlanta Realtors, satisfying your needs with service, innovation, and education.